All right, so this weekend I was at a Grand Archive Regionals tournament, and I have a lot of things to say about it. If you guys aren't familiar with Grand Archive, it's this new Kickstarter game that came out. It is an anime card game. It's very anime sometimes, and it's actually like it's pretty solid. I do enjoy the gameplay. There are some issues with it, but it's set one, and I tend to be pretty forgiving about set ones in games, right? It's kind of tough. So Grand Archive has a couple interesting mechanics. I'm going to give you like the bare bones of how the game works, and then we're going to get into the tournament. So Grand Archive has some interesting mechanics. Basically, you level up your hero, which is in front of you, kind of like Flesh and Blood or something, and you cast cards by putting cards from your hand down into what's called your memory, which is where you would have like your lands in Magic the Gathering. So if something costs 3, you have to put 3 cards from your hand face down into your memory in order to cast that card that costs 3. So cards in hand equals mana and spells, basically, right? There's a couple of things about the game. You start off at level 0, and then you pick the like hero lineage, it's called, or something like that. There are 2 main lineages that are good. It's basically a 2.5 deck format. There's Lorraine, who's like a warrior. She gets swords and she attacks you. She's the best. Then there's Rai. Rai is a mage. He casts spell. You can't see any of this. Okay, there's Rai. Rai, mage, casts spells. We're going to talk about what's important about these later. Lorraine, warrior. As you can see, very anime. Probably the best of the like hero lineages right now. So those are the two main like decks. I obviously played Rai, the wizard. How he works is basically you turbo to level 3 because you start as level 0, and then on your turn you go to level 1. In order to go to level 1, you have to banish 1 card out of your memory. In order to go to level 2, you have to banish 2 cards out of your memory. In order to go to level 3, you have to banish 3 cards out of your memory. Now Rai is a combo deck. He's kind of like combo burn. Storm. It's Storm. I'm playing Storm. He's fire element. What he does is he's going to look to hit level 3 on turn 3. And then he's going to look to either burn you out or, yeah, he can usually like burn you out on turn 4. And if you make it to turn 5, Rai can usually draw his entire deck if your sequencing is pretty strong. So that's obviously what I played. I played Grand Archive about 3 times. And then I signed up for regionals because that's how I like tournaments. Okay. I'm going with a couple of locals to this tournament. And on Friday evening, I fly down to Southern California, nearish Anaheim, near Disneyland. Get into the hotel, ready to go, play some practice games in the hotel, and then show up when it says to show up. Now, the tournament we're going to is called Grand Archive Regionals. For some reason, whoever's running this event, whom I've never heard of, like changes it to be called instead of the SoCal Grand Archive Regionals, they changed it to be Grand Archive Wenginals. I don't even know what this means. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. I'm trying to find you this sign. Look at this. This is what they changed it. So it's the SoCal Regionals, but for whatever reason, they changed it to be the WoCal Wenginals. I feel like it's a joke on like the guy who runs the tournament. This guy, I don't know. I don't care. It was dumb. I don't know why they did this. It made it impossible to find anything about this event, right? And it was just an entire pain in the ass. Anyway, the WoCal Wenginals started at 8 a.m. was check-in. So I go downstairs. We're booked in the hotel that the tournament's been running, which is very nice, actually. That part is awesome. I obviously love when it does that. So I go downstairs, 8 a.m., got my deck list. I start checking in. Takes a while to get checked in. That's okay. We make it inside at like 8:30. No big deal. Games are starting at 9, right? So I'm there at 8 a.m. like I was told to be. Sit down. It's like 8:40. Went to the bathroom. Deck list is all done. I'm all checked in. Getting ready. We got 20 minutes till the games are supposed to start. No big deal. Just going to relax. Talk with the local homies. right? Some time goes by. It's 9:15. It's a little weird. That's a little bit after it's supposed to start, but it's a card game tournament. I get it. Card game tournaments never start on time. They never start on time. So I'm willing to wait it out. Some more time goes by. It's 10 o'clock now. That's a little late. But I think it's these guys' first time hosting a big event. I'm willing to let it slide. They probably weren't quite as prepared as they needed to be. That's fine. I'm willing to give the Wenginals the benefit of the doubt here. 11 o'clock rolls by. I've been here for 3 hours waiting for this tournament to start. Just sitting down in a conference hall. Just waiting. Still doesn't start. Noon rolls around. Noon. I've been there for 4 goddamn hours. Finally, they're going to start pairing. So when we signed up, they gave us our stuff or whatever in a little pack. And then they gave us a raffle ticket. And the raffle ticket was for the opportunity to buy what's called supporter deck or supporter pack or something, which is basically like alt art versions of cards in a booster pack. And I hate raffles. The only thing I hate more than raffles is raffles that don't actually win you anything. It's raffles that give you the opportunity to buy something. You're right. It's a waffle ticket. I tried to do Wenja, but I couldn't figure it out. So we're sitting there. We finally get paired. It's like 12:30. This is 7 rounds. 7 rounds. I've been there for 4.5 hours. It's 12:30. We all sit down. We're all ready to go. Here comes Mr. Wenginal walking up to the stage, thanking everybody for being here, apologizing for the delay. All good. Willing to look past it. Let's just keep a tight tournament from here on out. We'll finish at like 9 o'clock, 8:30 maybe. That's all good. Okay. So he starts talking. Hey guys. So everybody accidentally got checked out of the tournament. So we're going to have to check everybody back in. Please form a line. Everybody gets up, gets in line. I'm good because I checked in online the day before. I don't have to check in again. So while this happens, I'm like, all right, this fucking sucks, man. I already know what kind of day this is going to be, right? I've been to bad tournaments before. And so I walk back up to my room to go to the bathroom. In my left pocket is my wallet containing my room key card and the raffle ticket. Walk back up to my hotel room. Wallet out. Key card, bink. Open the door. Walk in. The bathroom's right after the door. So I'm putting the key card back in my wallet as I walk up to the toilet, and the lid is open because it's 2 guys staying in the same room. Of course, the lid's still open, right? I walk up. And as I finish putting my key card back in my wallet, the raffle ticket that had stuck to my wallet in my pocket detaches itself and slowly flutters down directly into the toilet. And I can't believe this. I'm not going to reach my hand in there, bro. That thing's gone. So go to the bathroom. Go back down, dejected, because it's been like 5 hours, and I dropped the raffle ticket in the toilet. Go back down. People are finishing checking in. All right, cool. We sit down, and they get back up there, and they get on the mic again, and they go, okay, everyone's done checking in. And we're like, oh, yeah, okay, thank God. Oh, we can finally play. Except for these 4 people. Can these 4 people please come up? And they read off their names and then wait. And wait. And wait. Sorry. No. It's worse than that. They say anybody who signed in and didn't like recheck in, anybody who signed in this morning and didn't recheck in, please come up. We're going to give them a few minutes to come up. Of course, nobody comes up because no one thinks it's them. Otherwise, they would have already gotten in line. So he comes up and he reads out their names, and one by one, they go, whoopsie-doo, and they get back in line and they go check in. And I'm just ready to about die. Like, if it wasn't like a 6.5 hour drive home and I didn't have a car, I would have just left. Right? It's not worth it at this point. We're like 4.5, 5 hours into this goddamn thing, and we're not even playing yet. 7 rounds, hour-long rounds, right? Whatever, man. I'm here to play a game, have a good time, whatever. So we finally get paired again. We sit down, and we're ready to start playing. And they decide that the appropriate amount of time between posting pairings and to give all the staff and players enough time to get ready to not even start the game. You're not even allowed to start the game. Is 10 minutes. 10 whole minutes to look at the pairings and sit down in a 100-person tournament. And I'm like, you're kidding me, bro. We're 4 hours behind schedule. You cannot do this, right? You cannot do this. So we finally sit down and we're waiting. And then it's time. It's finally time to start round 1. And they walk back up there, and this motherfucker grabs the mic and he goes, all right, it's time to do some raffles. And I am losing my mind. All I want to do is play this stupid game and go get 3 drinks at the hotel bar for way too much money and then go to sleep. That's all I want to do. And I can't. I got to sit here and listen to them go, ticket number 4661407. $1407. Okay, we'll give them a couple minutes to come up here. Next ticket, 644. And my God, here's the worst part. Is that I can look over to the pile of product that they are raffling off the ability to buy. I can look over, see the pile, and immediately notice, wait a second, that is more product than the amount of people in this tournament. Why are we doing this? Why are you raffling off the ability to buy it? Just let everybody who wants one get in line, say max 1 per person until everybody who wants one get one, and then sell the rest to whoever wants it. Why are we doing this? Anyway, 10 minutes go by. They finish the raffle. We finally get to start. I blow my opponent out of the water. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I blast this guy. I'm done in like 20 minutes. So, we're finishing our round, and it's on Matcherino. And if you ever played any of the Mastering Runeterra tournaments, you know that we run it on Matcherino. I'm pretty familiar with the software. So I go into Matcherino, beep boop bop, I pull up my match, and I go to click the match so I could submit my score, and it won't let me. That's weird. Refresh the page. Nothing. It's not letting me submit my score. Raise my hand. Judge. Judge comes over, and I go, hey, man, how do I report the score? And this guy pulls out, I don't blame the judges, this guy pulls out a literal notepad and a pen, clicks it, and says, oh, just tell me. I'll write it down. Like, you are writing down the tournament results by hand. All of the different judges. Yeah. Okay. MajiinBae, 2-0. MajiinBae, got it 2-0. How are you guys putting this all into one thing? Like, are you walking back and then you like type it in or whatever? And he goes, no, we Discord DM this other judge separately who puts it into the software. Oh! So all these judges are walking around with notepads, writing down names and scores by hand. There's sure to be errors. And then Discord DMing someone else to type it in at the computer. And I just cannot, bro. I just cannot do it. Oh my God. So, round 1, done. We're finished. Now the round, we're waiting for next pairings. It's finished. We go to time. Everybody's done. It's like, I don't even know, like 2 o'clock, probably later than that. I was there at 8. I've been there for like 5.5, 6 hours. 1 round done. We're just waiting for the next round to start. And it's like 25 minutes later because they have to hand DM. They have to basically hand deliver over Discord all these match results to one person to input into the software and then pair. Oh, it's a nightmare. Anyway, second pairings finally out. I sit down across from my opponent. Good luck, man. We roll. I don't even know if I won the die roll or not. It doesn't matter. Not in the context of this video. And I sit down and I'm ready, and we have 10 minutes to get seated and stuff. So I'm just sitting there, just mauling, just upset. And then they walk up to the stage again. Okay, everybody. So for round 2, before we get started, we're going to do a couple more raffles. And my head, I swear to God, hits the desk, dude. I'm like, I can't even tell you how frustrated I am. And I'm like a pretty forgiving person when it comes to events. But I'm like, dude. So while they're doing raffles, I look at the schedule for the event. And it has the event starting at 9. And then I notice that after round 3, they have a 1-hour lunch break. But obviously we're not going to do that. Right? That would be ridiculous. We're so far behind. We can't do a lunch break. Anyway, end up playing round 2. My opponent is also new to the game, but I felt like didn't quite have the card game experience I did. So I get there. And yeah, we move on. Same thing happens, bro. We wait forever. A little faster this time, if we're being honest. And I'm sitting... In round 2, I'm sitting next to my buddy who gets deck checked. And if you've ever played an in-person TCG, this happens. They'll deck check randomly. They take your deck, they check it up against your deck list, just make sure it's correct, give it back to you, give you a couple extra minutes, whatever. You shuffle up, you play your game. No big deal. My buddy next to me gets deck checked in round 2. And we play both of our games before they get their deck back. It takes 20 minutes for them to get deck checked. So they get a 20-minute time extension. And they're doing this every single round. 20 minutes. If you've ever been deck checked, 20 minutes is absurd. 20 minutes is they accidentally lit your cards on fire and had to get you new ones. That's the only thing that would make sense for it to be 20 minutes long. So, takes forever. Whatever. Round 3, all the same stuff happens. I'm not going to go over it every single time. I sit down across from my opponent, and we get deck checked. God fucking damn it. It's also the round before the proposed lunch break. So we get deck checked. We're sitting there. We're just kind of waiting. Now let me walk you through Rise matchups really quick. The mage deck that I'm playing. I'm currently 2-0. I'm doing pretty well. There's 7 rounds. Top 16 gets an invite to nationals and a card. The way this game does it is they give you a card like Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle City or whatever it's called. They give you a card that qualifies you for more things. This card is worth $1,500. All I got to do is top 16. Feeling pretty good, 2-0. Now, fire decks are not really what we want to see because they're very aggressive. And they can kill you before you get to combo off. Because, aggressive decks, you don't want to run into it with combo decks. Water and wind typically tend to be very good matchups for you because they're about a turn slower. And if they're a turn slower, you don't have to rush. You get to basically draw your entire deck and then combo them from there, right? So, we're deck checked. They set it back down. My opponent, I'm going first. And I flip over my fire. I do some things. And I, play some cards, whatever. My opponent flips over Spirit of Wind. And we're like, we're playing against wind. Good matchup. Let's go. Because it's kind of slow. And then you have 15 health at level 0. And my opponent does 9 damage. Or something insane. It may have been a little bit less, but it was a lot of damage. And I was like, whoa, that was pretty quick. That was a pretty aggressive hand. So I go to level 1. I shoot something. And my opponent continues they don't even level. They just put shit on board and start beating my ass. And I'm like, oh no, this is not going good. Same thing. Next turn, just blows me out of the water. Just kills me on turn 3. Now, dying on turn 3 in Grand Archive is something that happens, and there's basically nothing you can do. If you die on turn 3, you didn't really do anything wrong. You just got blown up. And I was like, whatever. He just had a really aggressive hand. It happens. No big deal. Let's go to game 2. It's a non-game. It's a non-game. So I start, same thing, and my opponent puts just shitloads of damage in my face. Again, I'm like, oh no. And same thing happens. I die on turn 3. So I just have 2 non-games, and I'm like, wow, dude, I've never seen Wind Lorraine go that fast before. And he goes, yeah, so everyone at my locals plays Rye, the deck I'm on. So I built in a deck entirely just to beat Rye. Oh, that sucks. So I just got absolutely super hard countered here in round 3. Oh, so I get up and my friends are like, hey, did you get there? And I'm like, no. And they go, what happened? And I go, I died on turn 3 twice in a row. And they were like, I'm sorry, what? So I died on turn 3 twice in a row. I get up and I ask the judge, hey, judge, it says here in the schedule we're supposed to have a lunch break. Do we have a lunch break? Surely we don't have a lunch break. And he goes, yeah. No, we totally have a lunch break. It's an hour after the round. We have an hour. Whatever, man. So it's like 3:30 because I finished my round so fast because I got blown up so bad. It's 3:30. We have like an hour and 45 minutes or something. Like an hour and a half before I even have to get back. Because they have to like finish the round, go to time, go to lunch break, come back. They need time, get the pairings. They give you 10 more minutes. I have like an hour and 45 minutes before I have to get back. Whatever. I'm just miserable because it's been so goddamn long, right? And I've only played 3 rounds. We've been there for like 8 hours. And I just go get some food, which makes me honestly feel a lot better. And I just have to, there's nothing I can do but sit here and ruminate on this loss that I couldn't have done anything about. I could do nothing about this loss. So I'm just like kind of upset. And finally we come back from lunch break and it takes fucking forever to get going again. It takes forever to get going again. I think we finally get going at like 5:30. We start the next round. So at this point, 9 hours into the tournament, we played 3 rounds. And I'm just done, guys. I'm just over it. We have 4 more rounds left. So I sit down. All the normal stuff happens. They do the raffle. My opponent flips over Spirit of Water, which is fantastic for me because water tends to be too slow to put on enough pressure to stop Rye from what he's doing. I go first. Spirit of Fire, blah, blah, blah. I put 1 card in my memory, and I have what's called a floating memory, which is a card that if it goes in the graveyard, you can banish it to pay for your character's level up instead of just banishing the card that you put face down from your hand. They're usually like not as good as normal cards, maybe about a half a card worth of value, but then you get the value on the back end by banishing it instead of losing a full card from your hand, right? So I do that, and my opponent plays this card called like Naya or something. Basically a unit that says, hey, you get to pick 1 card in the game, any card name. And that card, as long as she is on the field, costs 1 more. And my opponent correctly picks level 1 Rye. So if I want to get to Rye, level 1, instead of just banishing the card from my graveyard or banishing the card from my memory, I have to banish both, which sucks because it puts me 1 card down. But in Rye, it's very important to just go level 1, level 2, level 3 every turn, basically. It's what you do every single game. And then my opponent plays this other card. It's a floating memory card, and it basically says, banish 1 card at random from your opponent's memory. It doesn't come back until the end of their next turn. So basically they said, hey, instead of 1, it now costs 2 for you to level up. You know how you have 2 floating? I'm just going to take 1 of those away until the end of your next turn. So I can't even get to level 1, which is like insane. So I can't get to level 1. Whatever. I put some more stuff in my memory. 2. And I pass the turn again. My opponent attacks me, put some stuff on the board. And remember that card that banished 1 of my memory to keep me off level 1? Well, this guy's got 2 of them. He's got 2 of them this turn. So he does it again and keeps me off level 1 again. And I'm too far behind at this point, and I lose. Whatever. Shuffle up. Game 2. Here we go. And Mike, the same thing happens again. I just get completely froze out of leveling up or playing the game 0-2. Now, I lost this round, and I was like, wow, that sucked. But I still have like a decent amount of time left in the round. How long ago was it that I lost the last round? And it was like 3 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago that I had lost the previous round. So I've just been in a losing, like, I've been upset about losing. By the time the 5th round starts, I've been upset about losing for like 5 hours in a row. So I do what any smart card gamer does when they're upset about things. I walk to the bar and I buy a drink. I walk to the hotel bar, which is very fancy, by the way. It's a very fancy bar. And I say, hey, man, I want something with maraschino cherries in it. And he's like, non-alcoholic? And I was like, no, sir, I want alcohol in there. He's like, do you want a Dirty Shirley? And I said, absolutely. So I bought myself a $17 Dirty Shirley. Yep, basically pit grit. I asked for extra maraschino cherries, and I walked back to the convention center 2-2. Now, the vast majority of 5 and 2s are gonna make it into top 16. Remember, the card you get for top 16 is worth an invite to nationals and like $1,500. So I really want it. I have to wait a fucking age and a half until I get to play the next round. But I'm feeling a little more loosey goosey. I'm feeling a lot better. So I play my next round. I play round 5, and we get there. We win. We're 3-2, right? I go buy another drink, obviously, because it's taking forever. I sit back down. I play. We get there. It's a good game. 4-2. Feeling solid. Now, every single match that I won was 2-0. I won every single match, every single game, except the non-games that I lost, where I could not do anything to win, which feels pretty bad. So I'm 4-2. I got to win one more game. One more game. By the way, they're still doing raffles every round, and it's still pissing me off, but things are moving faster. I think they're finally going like, oh, shoot, we got to get this going. It's like 10:30 at night. I've been there for 14 hours. 14 hours. I played 6 rounds of card games. So, the last round's about to start. I got to clinch this one. If we make it, my tiebreakers aren't super great. But if I win, and some of the people who beat me, the 2 people who beat me, also do well enough, I'll be in. So I sit down, play a pretty good game. It's 2-0 again. Obviously, before the round, I went and got my favorite drink, a Moscow Mule. So I'm buzzing. I'm pretty drunk. I play this last round, a little drunk, doesn't matter. We get there. Fun round, though. Really fun round. And I'm 5-2. Now, I finished pretty quickly. So I get to go watch the 2 people who beat me. If you're familiar with how tiebreakers work, in Grand Archive specifically, opponent match win rate is the most important tiebreaker. Now, there's a lot of 5-2s. Most of them are going to make it. So I'm watching, and we want our opponents to win. I'm jumping back and forth between these tables. Now, the water guy, the water Lorraine who beat me, who like froze me out of the game, wins. So now I'm watching the win Lorraine. And the win Lorraine is so far ahead. But I don't think he's going to be able to finish the game in time. But he's going to win this game. But I don't think he can do it in time. So, there's 2 possibilities. 1, win Lorraine wins, and my tiebreakers are good enough, and I'm in. I'm into top 16. Option 2, they draw, and both go to 4-2-1, which is worse points than 5-2 that I am at. So both of them are knocked out of contention, and I'll move up, and I'll make it in. These are the 2 possibilities. I'm feeling pretty good. So the judge says that's time in the round. You have 5 more minutes. They play their 5 more minutes, and Win Lorraine is incredibly far ahead, and they stop, and they ask for the standing sheet. And they read the standing sheet, and one of them looks at the other one. And if you've played card games before, you know this is absurd. You cannot say this. This is like an immediately DQable offense. One of them looks at the other one and says, "Do you want to roll for it?" Now, I cannot stress this enough. If you've never played paper card games, you cannot. It's like the cardinal rule. You cannot decide who wins the game based on non-gameplay or just conceding. If you suggest anything otherwise in front of a judge, you are disqualified immediately. Immediately. So one of them looks at the other one. Remember, any of the available outcomes, I'm going to make top 16. One of them looks at the other one and says, "Do you want to just roll for it?" And the judge looks the other way. Which I'm going to be honest, bro. I don't blame the judge. He's been here 15 hours. I don't blame him. He just looks the other way. The guy says, "Yeah." And they roll. And the guy that I need to win or draw, who was like 100% to win the game, loses the die roll. The only way I have to not make this top cut. So I'm sweating breakers. One of my losses won. The other one lost illegally. But whatever. I'm not going to raise a fuss about it. I ain't that guy. I ain't no snitch. I'll just talk about it to people on Twitch. So I'm just sweating breakers. And they post it. And I run up and I look at it and I fucking bubble. I fucking bubble the tournament. I don't make top 16 because of a goddamn die roll, and it wasn't even my die roll. And I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. It's past midnight. I sat there for 16 hours. 16 hours to lose top cut to someone else's die roll. And I'm done. I think my brain just snaps. And I just walk to my hotel room and I lay on the bed and I'm just done. I just fall asleep, bro. I got Wenjoned. Oh my God. And that was my tournament experience for the weekend. That was my tournament story for the weekend. We also like barely make it home Sunday night. Apparently the airport I'm at has a curfew of 9:55 p.m. and they say over the intercom at 8, "Hey guys, your flight is coming in from Vegas. They haven't left yet. So what's going to happen is I need all you motherfuckers with roller bags to check it because we don't have time for y'all to like walk around and try to find a spot to put it on the plane. So check your bags and we're going to sprint onto this plane, okay?" And then like 3 people get up to check their bag and I'm like, "You're kidding me." Like I'm not missing this flight because people aren't checking their bag. Anyway, they keep saying that. Eventually a bunch of people check their bag. And we ended up taking off at like 9:53. So we almost were just stranded down there for another day, which would have been just the icing on the cake, honestly, of my entire weekend experience. Yeah, that was my Grand Archive tournament. Honestly, the game is good. Grand Archive, solid game. It's fun. I am signed up for basically a big Grand Prix in Houston later in like a couple months because I signed up like a long time ago. And I hope, I know it's not run by the same group, so I'm hoping it's run better. I think the meta will be better. It's a solid game, actually. The tournament was horrible experience. So don't like blame the game. Don't be like, "Grand Archive, well, this one Runeterra streamer I know had a really bad time in a Grand Archive tournament." It wasn't because of the game. It was because of the tournament. Anyway, that is my story time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you everybody for coming. I'll see you next time.